There's a question that all of us runners ask ourselves sooner or later. Why do I really run? I've started running with more regularity lately, and the most important thing is that I'm back to participating in races, especially long distance races, 5K, 10K, halves, and soon also marathons. I would see the running races in Rome on Instagram, but I would discover the events too late to sign up, so I started looking for them. In the end, I went to the Italian Athletics Federation website, a real piece of archaeology of internet, but damn, it works. And most importantly, a massive quantity of races. So, scrolling through, I see something that fits well with my training schedule, and boom, the vertical race, which will be held on March 29th in Rome. Now, usually when you hear vertical race, you immediately think of mountains, crazy elevation gains, trails, stuff for people who evidently have deliberately decided to suffer. And instead, this one is in Rome, and it's a 10-kilometer road race. Vertical is an Italian foundation that deals with accessibility and inclusion, specifically improving the quality of life for the approximately 80,000 people in Italy with spinal cord injuries, with new daily cases. They fund research and projects for a more free and inclusive life. And this really struck me, and I'm happy to give my support in this way. Well done. Okay, a couple of words about me. I am a very passionate runner. I train by following the data, pace, heart rate, cadence, and I like to observe these numbers and interpret them to understand what they are really saying. But at the same time, I'm also interested in everything the data doesn't tell you. And this project, Data Runner, was born precisely from there, using numbers to understand, but also to go beyond. Because in the end, running isn't just about performance, it's also a way to explore outside and within. Okay, I'm registering, and wow, here we are. In Italy, however, it works a bit differently than abroad. If you want to do a competitive race, you need a medical certificate with an ECG under stress. I do it regularly now. There's one thing few people know. Many foreign runners don't have this certificate when they come to run in Italy. So the races found a compromise. They can participate, but they don't enter the official ranking. Maybe you've seen results with many people without a final position. There, the reason is explained. Anyway, certificate uploaded, everything okay. We're in. I have the bib number, 469. I'm going to pick it up, and as I go, I pass by the new Coliseum station of Metro C. In Rome, with the subways we've had some difficulties in recent years. Let's say that digging here is not exactly simple, because every time you dig, you find something 2,000 years old. But here it is, new, clean, almost surreal. And then Rome. Rome is so beautiful. And for those who run, it's also a paradise. Parks everywhere. Caffarella, Villa Borghese, Parco degli Acquedotti, Villa Ada, the Botanical Garden. No, you can't run there. I'm sorry, it's a protected area. Of course, there's also a bit of chaos, but if you manage to stay in it, Rome for running is really top. Let me spend a couple of words on my physical condition. Last week, I set a personal best for the 10K in 44 minutes after having run another 10 at a slow pace in the same training session. You can find the recap here in the video, link in the tab. After that, the last week was a masterpiece. Fever, cough, headache. Add to this, sleep, insufficient. Weekly load, almost zero. Recovery, incomplete. Nutrition, not optimal. Race strategy, poorly defined. Fitness level, uncertain. Peak performance, practically. But despite everything, here we are, all set for tomorrow. Let's take a quick tour of the route. The race starts and finishes in North Rome. The route begins with a loop in Flaminio, descends onto the Lungotevere, passing near Ponte Duca d'Aosta and Ponte della Musica, before returning towards the auditorium and finish the race at the same starting point. It is not a technical or extremely hilly course. The key factor is managing the initial pace. Anyway, carb loading done with the typical Roman-style pizza. Bib collected, everything ready, time to sleep. Okay, it's race day, and the physical effort is already considerable. And as if that weren't enough, there's also the time change. Yes, that thing that in Italy and much of Europe, we still do twice a year, moving the hands forward and backward. So not only do you have to wake up early on Sunday, but you have to wake up an hour earlier. At 6 in the morning, the city is deserted. Waiting, then you run, you sweat, you get tired. Sometimes you almost explode, and all this on your only day of true mental recovery, Sunday. And today also with an hour less sleep. Are you kidding me? Seriously, why am I doing this? I arrive at the start, everything ready. It was a day with a yellow level weather alert, and the temperature was a bit low. A strong, icy wind has been blowing for days, which only makes this race even more demanding. I do a quick warm-up just to activate my legs a bit, some mobility exercise without overdoing it, and slowly we approach the grid. I breathe, adjust the last details, look at my watch. Okay, we are ready. Before starting, let's add the data to the screen. Let's start easy. Pace and time. Okay, that works. While we're at it though, let's keep an eye on power too. And at this point, we might as well add speed and distance. Pandora's box is opening up. Cadence, heart rate, elevation, vertical oscillation, stride length, ground contact time, then the map, heart zones, calories, weather and position, and split times for the last kilometers. In short, we are monitoring practically anything that can be monitored. This is one of the features of the Data Runner software I developed. If you are interested in this stuff, let me know in the comments. I can continue to develop it and maybe later on share it.
3, 2, 1.
We are off. I run, I enjoy it. There are lots of people, more than I expected. I thought that almost 1,500 people wouldn't be that many in the end, but it's a river, everyone pushing, everyone going fast. I now have the feeling that everyone in the running world has become a super pro. I have to admit, I didn't memorize the course, so at the beginning I just let myself be carried a bit. The pace feels sustainable, and I decide to stay there without overthinking it. It's probably a bit too slow, but given the health issues I've had over the past few days, I carefully assess my pace and listen to my body to understand what rhythm I can realistically sustain. Around the second kilometer, I look for a small group running at my pace so we can support each other. I hear a guy talking a lot. It seems like he's pacing someone, so I ask him,
La fate a 4:15.
Chiaro, perché sono troppo veloce. Guarda i punti qua.
Around the fourth kilometer, I finally find someone running at a good pace, so I tuck in behind him for a bit. At kilometer 5, there's a refreshment station, pretty basic. I'm feeling quite good, and I think about skipping it because I always end up losing a few seconds at aid stations, but then I figure a sip of water is probably a good idea. I notice they even have small bottles, which I definitely prefer over cups that I always end up choking on. Since it's not a very crowded race, I think that if I throw the bottle on the ground, it'll probably just stay there. So, with a bit of civic spirit, I run a few extra meters holding on to the bottle until I reach the trash bins, and I nail it. I even sorted the waste properly. Around kilometer 7, I'm still glued to this guy who's pulling me maybe a bit too fast for my pace, and the thought of slowing down crosses my mind, but it doesn't last long. The legs are responding, and when I've got a bib on, asking my competitive self to slow down is never really an option. So I accept it without overthinking. I stop negotiating with myself and trust the pace I'm holding and what my legs are willing to give me right now. I keep going. In a moment, we're already at kilometer 9. The fatigue really starts to hit, my heart rate is rising, and this is the strangest point of the race. Enough time has passed for you to feel tired, but there's still too much left to even think about slowing down. The subconscious takes control. I enter a deep competitive hypnosis. The noise of thoughts fades, the useless ones disappear, and what's left is just a simple line to follow, one step, then another. Everything else for a moment stops existing, and then it comes back, almost unnoticed, the same old question. Why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through this effort? And I realize it's not really about the race, it's not about the time, not about the data, not about proving anything. The noise quiets down, everything that matters less fades away. What's left is just what you're doing. And maybe that's exactly what we keep coming back for. Not a clear answer, but that precise point where everything simplifies. And maybe that's the key to everything, and without really knowing why, you keep running. Having just completed my usual intergalactic journey through the infinite universe of my soul, runner's version, of course, reality snaps back together in the final meters of the race. I gather every last reserve, launch into a decisive surge, overtake my unwitting pacer, and in an instant, I'm at the finish line. here we are at the finish line, destroyed as always, but still standing. My time is 42 minutes and 5 seconds, while the official result is 42 minutes and 48 seconds. Unfortunately, because of the crowded start, I had to take several turns wide, inevitably covering a longer distance. Anyway, this one's done too. Thank you so much for making it all the way here. Data Runner is still a young channel. I'd love to keep creating more videos like this, but to grow, I need your support too. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, and let me know what stayed with you. The software is constantly evolving, and I'll keep you updated. In the meantime, I'm preparing for a half marathon in 2 weeks, so more is coming very soon. See you soon. Keep running, keep exploring.